through the Revenge of the Nerds. We have been living through these people have gotten power for the first time in their entire lives. And
well, it's like, you see that in show business. Like, people think if they got a job in show business, they're cool. I go, no, you're not cool. You're still and you're ruining the movie industry.
Well, they're the best jobs in the world. This is my theory on what happened with quote unquote woke, and like everything with the diversity initiatives over the last people act like it's been like 2 years. It's been 20 years since Obama. It's been 20 years where you haven't had a single positive white male character on television. Not a one, right? That's not a murderer. He doesn't kill people. Like who? Oh, there's a lot of guys. Name me one. Name me one dad on a sitcom that isn't a complete buffoon or a murderer.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's the thing. But you know what, dude? But the funny thing is that those people are the people with discretionary income that have money to go to the movies if you made a movie they wanted to see.
Middle class.
You could easily bring back the movie industry if you stopped this bullshit and started making movies people want to see. It's not rocket Scientology. It's not
brain surgery.
It's not brain surgery. Just make movies that people with characters they would care about and great dialogue.
Yeah.
I mean, go back and look at the movies, any movies from the 1975 all the way to the early 90s and go, let's make movies like this.
Jimmy, think about when we were cavemen 300,000 years ago, sitting around the campfire. We wanted stories. They were drawn on the walls. This is, storytelling is part of our being.
Storytellers rule the world because they instill hope, and they do it over and over again using the imagination.
They coalesce the vapors of the human experience into a
They dance fearlessly on the high wire of emotional intensity, imagination.
Have you bullshitted anybody this week? No. Did you try to bullshit anybody this week? Yes. So the great Jimmy Shubert with us, ladies and gentlemen. We've been taping. We did a hot open. We just been bullshitting over here. And to finish the story, what I think about what's happened is I think there was so much nepotism in Hollywood. And you would know, I mean, you've been in Entourage, you've been in movies forever. I mean, you were a Comedy Store guy. Everybody that doesn't know Jimmy Shubert, check him out. I mean, you've got 40 years in this industry that spanning. I mean, you've gone on tour with Kinison. You've been in television, movies. You've seen it at the highest levels. I personally think what happened is so many of these great jobs, these writing jobs, these producing jobs, went to sons, daughters, nephews, and cousins that they weren't qualified for, they weren't good at. And what they realized is that they could hide how bad they were behind black and gay faces. So you can't tell me that Ghostbusters 2 actually sucks. You just hate women. It's like, no, that movie sucks, dude.
Well, if you look at when I was watching, I was in a hotel room, I was screwing around, and an episode of My Favorite Martian came on. And I just started watching it, because there's a book out called If the Martian Would Never Say That. And it is a whole book of network notes that they given to writers about things that should and shouldn't be in sitcoms. And the guy said, how do you know what a Martian would say? This guy was a network executive, but it's called The Martian Would Never Say That. Yeah. And it's a whole book. But I was watching it, and the dialogue was so good. It was so good and so well written because at that time, everybody was coming from the theater. And you can't fake theater. Theater has got to be well written. It's a study. And so all those early TV writers came from the theater.
Great word economy.
And then what happened is it became a derivative of a derivative of a derivative till you got King of Queens, Everybody Loves Raymond, and two other sitcoms using the same lamps plus joke. It became a derivative of a derivative. And granted, comedy's always been king. Mm-hmm. I mean, the King of Queens is more popular now in syndication than it was when it was on the air, but still a huge popular show. But I mean, the sitcom used to be king. It's not now. They have to ruin it. Like, look what they did to the movie industry. Look what Vince Gill said, you can buy one of my songs for the same amount of money you can buy an app that makes a fart noise. I mean, that's where art is. And it's like, if you would just go back and you look at that cinema from 1975 to the early 90s and just see what great movies, like great film, great, and go back to that. Telling a story with great characters that you care about, with great dialogue and
in 90 minutes.
In 90 minutes. I mean, this whole thing about making a movie 3.5 hours long, or it's like, just tell the story in 2 hours. That's the art form of screenwriting. But you're right. I think a lot of it's nepotism. A lot of it used to be a meritocracy. The great writers would get the jobs, and even the best actors would get the jobs. Or if you were most qualified to get the job, you would get the job. And then, way before that, about 10 years ago, I had a meeting with my agent, and she said they just don't want to see you anymore. And I said, what? She said, just old white guys. They don't want to see you. This was happening 10 years ago. She said, if you tell anybody I say that, I'll deny it. But it's true. And, it's like, none of this stuff. I had nothing to do with who got cast in films and movies, and you're punishing a certain group of people because of your racist policies and your sexist policies and your ageist policies, and now you're trying to overcorrect it, and I don't think it's ever coming back.
Well, who was the president? He's either the president of the Writers Guild. Adam ruins everything. That guy, Adam Conover. And he did this whole thing where he was like, "Well, white guys complain to me all the time that they're not getting cast, and I tell them, shut the hell up. One, it's a lie. Two, if it is happening, then it's a good thing. Other people deserve a chance." And you're sitting here like looking at him like, one, you never told anybody to shut the hell up in your life. Yeah. So let's stop right there.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. I mean, I used to care about that industry. I don't really necessarily care anymore. I just care about working and doing the things I have control over, which is my stand-up, which I love to do. I got a new album dropping called Clown Shoes. We're going to have a new special. We're going to release it on YouTube. Seems to be the business model now. Put it out there for free. Let people watch it. They'll come see you when you make appearances at comedy clubs. And it's a real – I just listened to the album, which I love. It's probably my favorite of the 6 I've done already. So this will be my 7th album. And, I just like, that part of the business is fine. I mean, you can't, what are you going to do if they're dead set on? I mean, look at.
Well, you could make your own stuff. I mean, that's the other thing. And who I really do get mad about, and I feel like I mention this every podcast now, is, the conservative, the right, whatever you want to call it. Just make movies. You can make stuff too.
They're starting. I mean, is there a woke movie studio with Stallone and Mel Gibson and these?
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I think there is an anti-woke studio because nobody cares about it. Nobody looks at a comedy and goes, "Is there a comedy show on time? Let me see how many transgenders are on the comedy show." Nobody looks for that. And the fact that you're doing that, look, the only yardstick you have to measure any comedian is how funny they are. And I don't give if you're purple with 6 tits and you're hilarious, then by all means. But it's you can't shortcut the line just because you're transgender. It's not the way it works. You got to pay your dues. Mm-hmm. Like everybody's had to pay their dues. Everybody's got to put their time in. You got to become the best comedian you can. But I mean,
a lot of people cutting the line with social media, TikTok.
Well,
all that stuff,
that's fine, but it's still not going to save you. You still have to go do the 45 minutes of hilarious.
Say that sometimes, though, be careful what you wish for, because you get the Netflix special. There's people that have had Netflix specials in the last 2 years that Netflix special has set their career back 10 years.
I mean, look at look at Theo Von, who's a pro that I've known for many years at the Comedy Store, and just went out to tape a Netflix special, and it didn't go well. And like stand up to me, like you can't not be doing it all the time. If you love it, you got to love it. Charles Bukowski said, "Find it was what you love to do and let it kill you." And you got to love stand up.
He was talking about Latinas when he wrote that, though.
Yeah, I probably was. He probably was. But he said, like I wake up in the morning thinking about stand up. I go to bed at night thinking about it. I dream about it. I think about it during the day. I mean, I love crafting an idea or a bit that turns into something really funny, and I love working on it. I mean, that's what I got control over. That's what I love to do.
Well, you're one of the best in the world at it, and that's why they brought you over to Riyadh you were at the Riyadh Comedy Festival.
Well, the big comedy festival. I was with Russell Peters, and in all fairness, I was doing dates with Russell over there at the end of the month, and he said, "There's a change of schedule. We're going to Riyadh." So I was with Russell Peters. I didn't even know that it was a big comedy festival, to tell you the truth, until about 3 days before I went. I thought it was
a controversy here stateside.
I wasn't even aware of it till 3 days before I left, because I looked at, and then I saw David Cross came out and said some stuff, and then Marc Maron was doing a joke about it, but it was on stage. He was doing a joke about it, and he said, "In all fairness, I wasn't invited," so he was doing it tongue in cheek. I don't think,
but he's since been very sincere about his feelings on one, Joe Rogan, the comedy mothership, Kill Tony, and then the environment that he's created. Apparently, trans people are cowering in fear now. Congrats, guys. That's his line.
Hey, listen, what business did you think you were getting into?
I don't know Marc Maron personally.
No, but I do. I know Marc from the old days, and he's entitled to his opinion. I mean, everybody is, but it doesn't mean it's the end all, say all, be all. It's certainly the way he feels about it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, look, you're entitled to do whatever you want. I mean, for me as an artist, first off, let's talk about the tremendous amount of balls it takes that you agreed to go to Saudi Arabia, okay, and bring your art as an artist. I'm not talking about any of that bullshit. And like you're going to look down on your moral high horse, like America's got great human rights record. I mean, like we're the high bar that we set for human rights. Give me a fucking break. David Cross came out and started this shit, but I haven't seen David Cross at a comedy club. I don't see him out there working on his sets. I don't, a lot of guys didn't get invited. Maybe there's a little jealousy or animosity, or maybe they didn't get that big payday that everybody got.
Well, the controversy stems from the fact that the journalist Khashoggi, I believe his name is.
Yeah, well, it's not like the CIA's murdered journalists in this country. Oh, no. There was a guy who called on the drug war. The guy committed suicide. He apparently shot himself in the head twice.
Yeah, then you got Seth Rich. I mean, forget about it. I mean, the Clintons alone have a 40+
so let's not act like we don't do it. I mean, sure. Bombs we dropped on brown people and many countries we upset with the balance of power.
And I agree with you. Not enough.
No, but I'm just saying it's not like we don't do that.
No, but the point is,
I mean, it's at least they're.
Why would you not have conversations? I've never understood this deplatforming, canceling from this perspective.
I tell you the truth. I thought one of the success stories of the festival was Jessica Kirson, who's an openly gay Jewish woman, was over there. And I talked to the promoter, Bruce Hills, about it. And the thing of it is like you don't realize how much work it took just to have a comedy festival over there, period, and what you could say and what you could do. But I mean, what a way to extend the diplomatic olive branch with your art form. I mean, because comedy's not a thing over there. It's a great way to bring a piece of culture over there. I mean, nobody's talking about that. I mean, Jessica Kirson got a standing ovation. An openly gay Jewish woman in Saudi Arabia, and she's a woman on stage and got sustained. That was a success story. And 3 days later, she turns around and takes an ad out in the trade, said, I should have never went. I should have never have done it. I'm going to give the money to charity. Whatever her fan base.
She got her handlers came and
got her?
Well,
whatever it was. But I mean, if that's not progress, then I don't know what is.
That's a great point.
I mean, if that's not progress, I don't know what it is. At least with Saudi Arabia. Now, you're going off a model of Saudi Arabia from 30 years ago.
Well, Zuby grew up in Saudi Arabia, and we interviewed him back when I was on the PBD podcast. And this clip went viral. He famously clowned me, and he was right, and I was wrong. And, I was going off of early 2000s propaganda about what I believed Saudi Arabia was. And he told me it was completely different. Now, he lives a very clean lifestyle. He doesn't like drinking, so the fact that there's not drinking anymore. And then he goes on about the higher marriage rates. And, so what I would consider to be a repressed society over there, this is how you Americanize things anyway. To your point,
I got
dropping bombs
bro.
Isn't going to, that's not diplomacy.
There's no graffiti. There's no homeless people. There's no drinking. There's no crime. I mean, you go over there and you go, wow. And then you see people with their families, and they're just people with their families, just enjoying their lives. It's just like we are.
Was this your first time there?
Yeah, in Saudi Arabia for sure. Yeah, I was actually in Doha, Qatar before. I just did a DOD military tour, and you have to go through LUD Air Force Base there. So I wasn't in Saudi Arabia proper, but I was there back in 2008, 2009.
Is there any chance that they put on like a good face for you? Like when Gavin Newsom cleaned up the streets of L.A. and San Francisco.
Here's the thing. Here's what people don't realize. Most of those people in that are like 40 years old in Saudi Arabia, and they've all been educated in the West. They've all gone to colleges in places like Des Moines and Washington. Yeah, because it's part of the deal over there. You get to go. They pay you for the free education to go to American universities. So most of them have been educated in America, and they're very familiar with the culture. It's not like they're not. It's not like but still, you're making them laugh in their second language. Mm-hmm. Over a huge cultural divide, and then also comedy's not really necessarily a thing there. That's why, and I went with Russell Peters, who's been playing those markets for 15 years. I mean, and you couldn't go with a better human being than Russell Peters. He's such a great human being. He's hilarious. To watch him, and you see his audiences, they're Arab, they're Filipinos, they're Indians, they're Americans.
And he's Canadian.
They're white people. Yeah, and he's Canadian. But I mean, to watch what he does, I mean, like to make 6,000 seats seem intimate, and he taught, and it's just, and they just love Russell Peters. It's like touring with Elvis, man. So he's been going over there. It's not like it was something he just decided to do. You know, I understand why some people are getting grief for positions they've taken on about other artists playing there, and then they've gone over and do it. I mean,
well, Tim Dillon came out. He took the money, and then
he took the money and didn't go.
Yeah, but
they uninvited him.
They uninvited him, but he said that there were restrictions that he was not willing to go through.
Well, that's not necessarily true. I mean, the list came out, and the list was quite inclusive. And then when you get there, they go, "Here's what you can do: don't make fun of religion. Don't make fun of religion, and then don't make fun of the royal family." Were the only two things that you couldn't do.
Any religion or Islam?
Or just Islam. I mean, don't go up and make fun of, like, I wouldn't come here and I don't do that here, let alone what I do it there. I don't know enough about it to even assume like I would go over there and mock your culture. I wouldn't. My job there was to make people laugh.
There's this thing called bacon. You guys it's going to blow your mind.
Yeah, let me tell you people about bacon. If you ever, as there's some jokes I dropped out of my act because of obvious reasons, but also I understood the assignment. The assignment is to warm up an audience for Russell Peters and to also for me as an artist. The thing that got me excited was to see if I could do it, to see if I could pull it off, really. And then, but we were over there. We didn't just do Riyadh Comedy Festival. We also went to Doha, Qatar. We went to Muscat, Oman. We were in Kuwait. We went and did stand-up comedy. And then we did UAE. We went and did Dubai. 7,000 people in a giant arena. Amazing. And just beautiful, man. It was a beautiful culture. It was like, there's an old story like the generosity of the Saudis and the people there, like Jack Nicklaus, the golfer, at the height of his golfing prowess, went over to Saudi Arabia. And I heard this story. I didn't, we check and see if it's true. But one of the princes said, "You are a great golfer. I want to buy you golf clubs." So he thought he meant like a set of golf clubs. And 2 weeks later, the deed to a country club showed up at his house. He bought him a golf club.
Yeah, Saudi money's a different thing.
Don't get me wrong. There's still a lot of bunkers.
But it was,
a lot of sand.
Too much sand.
A lot of sand. But it was a great course.
We were talking with a CIA guy once when I was on the Drinking Bros, and somehow we got into Elon Musk and how he's the richest guy on earth, and kind of like he laughed. He goes, he's the richest guy that they tell you about. It's like the Kingdom of Saud. It's the Saud family owns it. Yeah. They're like the British Crown. The British Crown technically owns Australia. They can put down Australia for collateral on a loan.
Yeah.
But you have no concept of what actual wealth is out there.
I mean, Kuwait, which is smaller, much smaller than Saudi Arabia, has more money than all of them. I mean, it's an oil-rich country. I mean, their leadership is much older, so they were still in control of the language on the shows and the thing on the shows. Just the fact that people were able to go to a comedy show was a big deal for them, because it's not something they get to see. But
it's diplomacy. You said it right, and this is how you win over hearts and minds. And I feel like that area of the world has been reaching out to us for a while. They want to connect with us, between Live Golf with the Saudi Arabians, then you have the Qataris, they want to get involved with the UFC.
Yeah, but I mean, Tom Brady's going there with some of the NFL guys. They're doing a flag football exhibition.
League out there with
the
UFC's
been there in Abu Dhabi and around the Middle East. You also have Formula One racing, tennis. You don't see other tennis players going, "How could you other tennis pplayers play tennis in Saudi Arabia?"
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you don't see that.
Yeah.
I mean, comedians as a whole are a big bunch of crybabies. I mean, you put your time in, you get to do your thing. I mean,
well, let's not beat around the bush. Also, Israel has an outsized presence within the comedy and entertainment community as well. There's not a lot of Israel doesn't have a ton of influence in whether or not guys in the NFL are going to play in Saudi Arabia. So
I mean, everybody said it was Saudi Arabia, but then why did we go to war with Iraq?
Because they wanted us to.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I said so. They said it was Saudi Arabia, but everybody knows it was the Yehudis. Listen. Anyway, the point is The
point is, buy my album. It's
no. I'm just saying.
I think at this point, we have to assume like the concept of the nation state, who, what, where, when. It's complete bullshit. This is international.
But people of countries get along. It's only the governments that don't.
100%.
And I got to tell you, dude, when I was at the mall, we were in the Doha Mall in Qatar, and I was just sitting there, just watching, just people watching. One of my favorite things to do. And they were just there with their kids. They're having dinner. They're taking their kids shopping. I mean, it was heartwarming. It was like these people are they exactly like people here? They're traditional. I mean,
propaganda works, dude. Like when I go to Colombia, I love Colombia. You know that. I love Medellin. Almost bought a place there. Might still buy a place there.
Yeah.
But every time I go down, my mom's like, "You better be careful. You better." And I'm like, I grew up 5 minutes from Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Like if you get jammed up in places, you're probably doing the wrong things at the wrong
place,
time.
wrong time.
Yeah, and you get jammed up in Newark, New Jersey. Yeah, well, Newark's a really dangerous place. Newark's one of my favorite places. It's one of the best kept secrets in the country. What were you doing on MLK Boulevard at 3:00 in the morning, buddy?
Yeah, you gotta not put yourself in bad situations.
What were you doing there?
Yeah, you gotta stop putting yourself in bad situations. So anyway, I'm telling you, for me or my experience of it, I'm sure everybody has their own version of it, but I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. And I got to tour with Russell Peters, who's one of the greatest human beings on the planet. I love working with him. I told him, I said, "Hey man, thanks for letting me tag along, bro. This was just unbelievable." And of course, he trusts you enough to open his shows, which are important to him.
You're a beast, man. Anybody that doesn't know Jimmy Shubert, I don't need to smoke you. Everybody knows the way I feel about you. This is the second time on the show. Thank you for coming back.
Yeah, thanks.
But I mean, you're a monster, man. And not only that, but you're eclectic. You're the perfect guy for a place like that. So, to go a little bit inside baseball, I don't want to go too deep on it for the audience, but comedy is so much about connection. I'll do my Gavin Newsom. Comedy is so much about connection.
True.
And you don't have any cultural connection with those folks, right?
Right.
And we don't realize as Americans, this is something that dawned on me a couple of years ago when I was doing some stuff in Mexico, and I was like, holy shit. So much of my conversation style, forget my act, is idiom based. Then these idioms don't translate. They don't have these idioms.
Yeah.
So it's not even like we understand the culture. My version of English is not something that you know.
Because within that's
a very New Jersey, Philadelia thing.
Yeah,
we talk
but within
in riddles
the
almost.
English language, there is slang, and there's also things that words that you. I mean, because I love this is why I do stand up. I love the wording, the phraseology, but all that doesn't necessarily translate to a second language that people speak.
How you doing?
And how you doing?
I can imagine doing that to somebody and then being like, why do they keep asking me?
I found myself just kind of opening my act up and make it a little more accessible. Not so specific as they wouldn't get some of those references, but I kind of just opened it up a little and made it just a little more accessible. I was talking much slower than I usually do, and I was also pacing, moving back and forth so they could keep an eye on me. But also, once you get to the men and women stuff in my act, which is there's like the last 20 minutes I was closing with. I was closing with proposing to the vagina, which killed. But all the men and women, why don't you just try being a nice person? All that stuff did it because men and women are men and women all throughout the world.
So you didn't do any of the airplane TSA?
I did some of it. But that's the other thing. They don't travel with their pets over there. They don't travel. You didn't see one person get on the plane with a little dog or three little dogs. Like how up are you? You got 3 therapy dogs.
What do they know about American culture and? Are they rolling their eyes?
I did a Three Stooges reference that got a laugh, like the Three Stooges, like the nostalgic stuff. But the internet's made the world a much smaller place, and so while dude, and this is in 14, 15, and 16. I was going to China. There was a comedy club called Kung Fu Comedy over there and Takeout Comedy that over there in Hong Kong. But I've done international shows as well. My friend Tom Rhodes is a huge international traveling American comedian that goes over there and does stuff and has been doing it for years. It's
at the end of the day, we're all humans, right?
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's and that is stand-up is a study of the human condition.
Even right there, just at the end of the day, that's an idiom. They don't use like that. They're like, why do you keep referencing the end of the day?
But you go to it's funny. You go to the Philippines and they speak English, but they don't know the phrases. But within the language, there's another language. But also that was part of the job of figuring out like a Rubik's cube, what will work, what's like every show I was adding stuff to see if it worked, and I go, that's too much. I can't. That's not.
Well, we all communicate on a human level. Like you'd be in the subway in New York. And it'll be some guy who, from wherever that doesn't speak a lick of English.
Yeah, the slower I went, the more laughs I got because they were able to understand me.
You see a girl walk in, you'll look at that guy and you're like, and he'll look at you like, and you guys don't understand anything about the world other than nice butt, man.
Yeah, but it was certainly interesting. I mean, what a life-changing adventure. And I also went to India with Russell too. Russell took me to India to open for Russell in India, which is his home country, and just it's another thing. A lot of them speak English, but like again, there's a big cultural divide. And how do you bridge the gap? For me as an artist, that's what kind of turned me on about the whole thing.
Challenge of it.
Could I do it? Mm-hmm. Could I do it? Would I be able to do it? And obviously, Russell thought I could. He hired me to come do the shows and trusted me with opening his shows, which is a big responsibility, and can I pull it off? And that for me was the time. I've been doing this 37 years. It's like you go, okay, that's exciting to me. That's like that. I could go to Cleveland again for the 15th time, or I could go to.
Which, by the way, New Year's Eve, Cuyahoga Falls. Come see your boy at the Funny Stop in Cuyahoga Falls. New Year's
shameless
Eve.
Plug. Another shameless plug. Cuyahoga Falls. Mark it on your calendars.
Mark it down.
No, but it's that's what it was, and you just, dude. I mean, the food was phenomenal. The food is like they don't mess with the food like they mess with it over here. They very clean. Like the meats are clean. The fruits and vegetables are organic. Those hotels that you go to, they do these it's not a Holiday Inn breakfast. The croissant and some scrambled runny milk powder eggs. This was like a really every hotel was phenomenal. The views, I thought it was an exceptional, and also.
So do you think a lot of it comes from? Do you think a lot of the backlash came from jealousy, or is it there's such still a gatekeeping culture in Hollywood and in comedy where the people at the top, whoever they are, they seem to want to decide who gets to talk to whom about what?
Yeah, but here's the thing. You don't have any business in it because you didn't you don't get to tell me what to do. I mean, I'm going to go do something that turns me on, that gets me going. I mean, and you're basing it on like a preconceived notion of what Saudi Arabia is. Yeah. I mean, the women there were wearing whatever they want. Women were driving over there, although I'm sure they're still not crazy about letting that happen. But I'm telling you, the things
I'm not
over
crazy
there,
about it here.
The things about it that you think that to be true are not necessarily true. Like you said, propaganda is one. I didn't find anybody to be mean. There was going to be dirty looks. Everybody was gracious. Everybody was kind. Everybody was they helped out. They were excited about it. They were looking forward to it. They thought it was great. I mean, Saudi Arabia is really opening up to the West and to their people, and I think it's just a matter of time for them. Kuwait's a little smaller, not so much, but Muscat, Oman, it's an ancient Arabic culture, which like some of the it's not a modern city. It's like old school, and it's beautiful, and there's cliffs, and there's we went to the souk down there, and they got incense and all this cool stuff, and the people were nice, and then you go to like Dubai, which is an amazing city, like the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world. There's a mall there that has sharks in a right next to a giant underground aquarium with sharks in it in the bottom floor of this mall. I mean, it's stunningly, amazingly beautiful. I mean, it's all high end. It's all. The architecture alone is something like you go, wow, this is unbelievable, and it's clean, and there's no crime, and I didn't have to worry. There's no homeless people. There's like, I mean, it was just. It was interesting. It was I call it's a life-changing trip. I mean, it really opened my eyes up, and I went, "Wow, this is amazing." The fact that they were even able to get my jokes and get some of the stuff you were doing.
Well, I think Red Fox, right? Red Fox famously says when they were like, "Why do you connect with white people so well?" And all he's like, "Well, everybody fucks, and I mean, fuck, everybody shits."
Yeah, I mean, people are people. I mean, you think we all want the same things at the end of the day. We're all, even though everybody puts up a good front and acts like they don't care, everybody wants the same things at the end of the day. It's the study of the human condition. I mean, you watch, men and women in different cultures. It's the same all over the place. Yeah. I mean, just not speaking the same language. But, and then you go, I mean, they have all the conveniences of the West just without any of the annoying Westerners. You go to the Starbucks, you want to get a cup of coffee, you're in and out. There's not some guy going, I have a triple passion fruit tea latte. You don't have all that silliness. I mean, that's the thing is like, it's like, we've got it so great here that it's actually, you're so ridiculously bored that because everything how easy do you need your life to be?
They were talking about that in the Roman times, that they were afraid of the decadence would make them soft. And they were talking about this 2,000 years ago, and they ended up being correct.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, I call it job security because there's more stuff to make fun of. But, it's like, for instance, the one thing is like while I was over there, I didn't wipe my butt one time because they have a little hose next to the toilet called the bum gun. It's called the shitafa.
The bidet?
It's called the shitafa. Well, there was a bag, but there was a hose there.
An actual hose?
Yeah, it's called the shitafa. They call it Jetstream bum gun. But after you launch a sewer pickle,
this is why they think
you rinse out your leather Cheerio with it, and I'm telling you, it clean as a whistle. I mean, it's unbelievable.
You got to at least wipe after, though. You got to
dry it off. You got to dry it off. Yeah, but you got to dry it off. I'm telling you.
This is why they think we have unwashed asses over here in the West.
You're a savage. You don't rinse off your razor.
How dare you?
Your underwear looks like a high school parking lot. Jeez. No, but they got the bum gun.
What are you, melted M&Ms in there?
And what do you got? But it was phenomenal. It was like you just go, yeah, it's unbelievable. It's what a great invention. It's so funny because I was talking about how great it was. One of the guys, my buddy Sasha, got me a shitafa to bring back to America.
Is that right?
So hook it up
to my smuggling in a bum gun.
Smuggling in a bum gun. When I was in it,
I had this uncomfortable hunk of metal up my.
This shitafa is your birthright. This shitafa, your father belonged to this shitafa. He smuggled his race soda. But yeah, it was just I don't even know what all the fuss was about, to tell you the truth. Some people, just the people go, I mean, how could you?
It's flexing too, man. I mean, it blew over very quickly, but it was also it was almost from and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but from a comedian, kind of like reading between the lines. It's like you play that, you're not going to be welcomed here at the Comedy Store.
Well,
right?
It's funny. I understand why it's like Jessica Kirson, her fan base is a lot of LGBTQ, so understand why Saudi Arabia didn't have the best.
The balls of them to go marching for Palestine for 3 years and then tell her she can't tell jokes in Saudi Arabia.
I mean,
the balls.
Come on. No, but
why do they keep
understand
talking about the balls. I don't understand.
I
this is testicles for now. Jimmy's big UAE audience. We refer to our genitalia as balls here in America. Another of the idioms and slangs.
But, just watching, I mean, I got to see Mark Norman was there, Jeff Ross was there. I mean, all the comedians, all the usual suspects.
A lot of Jews for an anti-Semitic place, huh?
Yeah, I mean, figure it out. But I think it's easy for people to say, "How could you go do that?" Look, nobody cares what I do. I mean, nobody cares what I do. But why would you care what Bill Burr or some of these other people do? I mean, it's their career, it's their life. I mean, But I also understand people going, "Well, I'm not going to support that." I mean, people can do whatever they want. I mean, you make decisions. With those decisions come consequences, and one thing leads to another. But I thought,
but this is the problem with the quote unquote left, right? They don't want to talk to people, and they don't think anybody should be allowed to talk to people. This is why they failed so poorly with the podcasting and the deplatforming and the AOC with that smirk look when Tucker lost his job. Like, deplatforming works? No, it doesn't. Because all you end up having is an echo chamber, and you're so hell-bent on this purity test of who's the most left of the left that you start turning on each other. And you have to have these conversations. You have to be willing to go places. I mean, that's considered an enemy territory, and you came out of there with fans and friends. How is that not a good thing for America? How is that not a good thing for the industry? I don't see any negatives.
And they loved it. They really loved it. I mean, Russell Peters is so good. I mean, he's to watch across cultures, across just so good, and you get to watch it every night, and they're laughing, they're enjoying their lives. I mean, laughter is
how dare you make people laugh?
It's very cathartic for people. It's very healing for people. I mean, especially coming off. I just know that when I was doing my shows, like after the pandemic, and people would come up to me and grab my arm and go, "Oh my God, I haven't laughed like that in so long. I forgot how much I needed it." Like, it's cathartic. It's healing. It's a great diplomatic olive branch. The way this is how we laugh. This is the things we laugh at. I mean, so
I think it comes out of control.
People can do whatever they want. Like, you're not the king of show business. People can get to go do, and I think you should. I mean, Anthony Bourdain said it. Traveling is one of those things. Like, if I want to go out and find out about a culture, I want to go experience with all six senses. I want to taste the food. I want to hear the people. I want to talk to the people. I want to shake their hand.
Travel is the enemy of
see
ignorance.
them. Yeah, it's exactly right. I mean, and as I've gotten older, I mean, all this comes with an expiration date. And I was in the Philippines for about 2.5 weeks before that. Then I flew over to Riyadh, and then I was over there. Then I came back for 10 days, and I went back over there and did Muscat and some of these places. I really like being a citizen of the world. I like being able to go over there and do it, and to them it's new. It's probably where comedy was maybe 15 years ago, or maybe 20 years ago, where they're excited about it. It's kind of a new and exciting thing for them, and to be able to go over there and do it at a high level, and to make some new friends and some new fans, and they were nothing but super nice.
When you were in China, were they restricted with the speech? I mean, they're pretty well known to be.
I don't do that anyway, man. I mean, I understand the assignment. The assignment is to make people laugh. I'm not going to jump up on a soapbox. I'm not going to critique the government. I'm just going to go up and make people laugh, and that's the rush of it. And a lot of people there's a lot of expats over there. So I was performing for English speakers and people who like Australians. And Australians and Canadians and people that were over there. There's a lot of Americans over there when they graduate college, they go over to China to teach English to the Chinese students, the way they get to pay off their student loans.
Is that right?
And they go over there on 3-year contracts. They have to live in China in these expat communities, but there was nothing for them to do, so they would bring over American stand-up, and they would love it. I mean, I remember I was doing a show at this in Suzhou, and we went to this bar, and there was a kid sitting in the bar by himself, and he was doing an internship at a law firm in China, but he was from Southern California, and he missed his. He goes, I was so homesick, and I watched you do stand up, and it made me laugh, man. I was so homesick. It made me feel great to watch some American stand up. And even when I was over in war zones, you go over to Afghanistan, or you go over to the Middle East, or you go over to Korea and do these, or in South America, some of these bases to do stand up. You're like bringing a little slice of home over to people. We were in Afghanistan. We were in forward operating bases. We went to Camp Wright, Methur Lam, Camp Wright, Asadabad. These different forward operating bases, and you're out on you're inside enemy territory doing jokes, and you got a 40-pound Kevlar vest, and you got a helmet on, and to me that's. I mean, what a great thing to do is to bring stand-up comedy and make these guys laugh. They're having an incredibly tough time, but to be able to go over and make them laugh for a minute and forget about it, I think that's the power of the art form. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the cool thing about it. I mean,
you've worked the world. You've done, Russell Peters. You've done Sam Kinison. You've done a ton of your own shows. You've done the Comedy Store. What is your favorite comedy experience?
Man, I would say what I just did with Russell is kind of one of the favorite comedy things. Yeah, because you're doing it, you're getting to see and also when we were in India, but also I like clubs where audiences come for some good old fashioned comedy. This idea that you have to jump up on a soapbox and tell people how to think and feel with your stand up. It's not my job. My job is to make you laugh. My job is to make you laugh and to make you laugh hard. I mean, that's the job of a comedian. And so, I try to, that's look, man, like I said, this all comes with an expiration date. Enjoy your art form. Bring it to as many people as you can, and try to bring joy to the world. There's plenty of people out there that will make you feel like shit and tell you no. And I'm not that guy, bro. I've done a lot of cool things. I'm very blessed. I've been able to do it. And I just want to be able to do something I love to do, which is make people laugh and to do it at a high level and to continue writing and producing albums and specials and keep putting out content and keep finding the funny, because that's really the job, and it's like Carlin's my hero, man. And he's like one of my, I was talking with Russell about it. Russell said, Carlin did every premise. Everybody's just, Carlin did everything. Like, it's like, he's one of my favorites. But, I mean, the guy had freaking 22 albums, 21 albums. Really? He had 14 HBO specials. He had 8 books. He was a content monster.
Wow.
And so you just go, I mean, look, and a lot of guys are like putting out a special every year. You wait till they're finished. You do it when it's ready, I mean, I talked to Bill Burr. I go, do you do a special? He goes, I do it when it's ready, every 2 years, 3, whatever. But it's like, I mean, I think for the layperson, what they don't understand, I think stand-up comedy is really, just to do it well, it's incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
It takes a long time to get good at. And then to get an opportunity to go to another country where they don't speak your language. People are doing it. A lot of tours through Romania and stuff like that. And people, I talk to other friends that go through, do Greece and doing different countries. I think it's really pretty ballsy to go to another country where the English is their first language and try to make people laugh and do it on your terms as an artist. I think that's pretty cool. I think it takes balls. So you can say what you want, but I don't think the layperson understands that.
They don't know.
And I go, well, then
especially because you make comedy look easy. The good comedian makes comedy look easy, and everybody sees themselves up there and goes, "Oh, I could do that," or "Hey, I wrote this. This is you can have that." And you're like looking at this.
Yeah, I go, like, go try it. Go do 7 minutes at your local open mic night.
Go for it.
And then take yourself from there, and then put yourself in Saudi Arabia, where they speak English as a second language, and realize how difficult the task is.
Try to tell jokes in Louisiana when you're from Jersey, and realize like, oh, okay, so much of my set is geocentric. I need to open this thing up. These people have no idea what I'm talking about.
Exactly, 100% right. And I got to tell you, I mean, you think about it sometimes, and some people, like, if you look at people's acts, you go, that act is very geocentric.
You can tell where they come from.
Well, but also, for a guy like me, I tour everywhere. Mm-hmm. I go to Cleveland, San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, Austin, you want your act to be you're as an artist, you build a sustainable, repeatable act that'll get laughs over and over and over again.
But also,
as many different cities as you can. I mean, it can't be geocentric.
But you're a content monster too. I mean, you like some of the guys that I work with that I have so much respect for. Dave Landau, I love. Dave Landau did 5 hours one weekend with me where he did 5 completely different hours. I was like, that's very impressive.
Yeah.
Carlin is great like that. I've worked with you on the road where you're just the crowd comes with you on a joke on the first show, and you got 3 or 4 or 5 extra tags that you hit them with. Next show, you don't like the way they're reacting to that joke, boom, another joke. And right off the top of your head, you find them and you go with them. And that's the part that the younger comics don't understand, and that's the part that the audience will never understand, to have so much in that mental Rolodex to be like, nope, next, boom, pop it out.
Yeah, well, you're like a quarterback. You're calling audibles. You put a guy in motion. You're going to set, like, this is a fake run pass. Omaha. Yeah. And you're calling audibles because there's a little guy in the back of your head just shooting the jokes out.
And when you see...
Dust that one off. Throw it out. Give me a new one. Polish it up. Send it out.
And there's nothing like when you're on the side and you're a coach and and you're watching that comic and you're like, they're not going with it. Bail, buddy. Bail. And then he just keeps hammering them with their, especially if it's politics or something like that. They don't do pivot. Just no. Yeah, but dude, he's got his script and he's sticking to it.
But I mean, it's funny because you're up there for 45 minutes to win. You're just talking for 45 minutes and killing an audience. I go, like, I don't think a layperson, like, you get that. Like, my brother did stand up one time. He goes, I wrote 15 minutes of jokes. Hey guys, I went through them in 3 minutes. I was up there for 3 minutes. He goes, unbelievable. Like, so you're up there for an hour talking to people. Like, you take any of these guys who've been doing 25 25, 30 years. They're just consummate pros. They've done everything you could think about doing, or anything that could happen in a room has happened to them. They're on top of it, and like you said, it's Carlin and Dave. That's the whole thing of it, is to keep be able to do different shows. You got to keep it interesting for yourself as well.
That's a big.
You don't want to do the same exact set
every night
because you get bored of it, and so you got to mix it up a little bit. But
I'm struggling with that a little bit. The mothership, man, because they want you to hammer your best set, and I don't want to tell the same jokes every time I'm up there. You know what I mean? Like, it's so I'm kind of deviating a little bit, because I can't do it.
Well, in between, you deviate a little bit, bounce back into a bit.
Come back into it.
I do it. I do, like, if I do go
one for them, one for me, one for them.
Yeah. So what I do is basically I go into the audience and I bounce off the audience member back into a bit. I go in to bounce off. I bounce off the audience. I don't really do crowd work per se.
I'm going to break the fourth wall here, guys, and I know magicians should never give out their tricks, but I know Gen Z loves crowd work, and now Gen Z comics are all doing crowd work. I love crowd work, but guys, it's a bit. They're not asking somebody and randomly they're giving them an answer and they're thinking of this brilliant joke off the top of their head. So all you comics out there that keep waiting for this viral moment and all you're doing is brutalizing the room by, oh, what do you do for a living? You're an accountant? This guy don't get laid, am I right? Like, you have a joke and you find a mark that gets you into the joke.
There are comics that do it at a high level. I mean, Russell does it amazing. Butch Bradley in Vegas is an amazing crowd worker. Jay Okerson. Also, Ian Bagg. Just monsters, and they weave it all together. It's like, it's masterful.
But it's a joke, guys. They find a mark that gets them into the joke.
Yeah.
It's not, it's supposed to look like it's happening off the top of their head.
Well, yeah.
But I got to tell you, the rabbit's been under the table the whole time.
Dude, it's like improv groups. They got to meet 3 times a week to practice. I thought it was improv.
It's improv.
We're rehearsing 3 times a week. We rehearse our improv.
When I was doing UCB, they would say, the best part about improv is there's no rules. And then they hand you a book this thick of all the rules.
Yeah, so it is what it is. But, I mean...
what was the touring with Kinison like? Again, for the younger audience, you talk about Carlin, Kinison. I mean, these are revolutionary people. These are people that made. He turned comedy into rock and roll.
I think Kinison and Hicks, like Carlin and Pryor, were these counterculture icons at the right time in history. I mean, if you look at what stand-up's become, and people don't realize, stand-up, like jazz music, is a uniquely American art form. I mean, the way we do it, where more. Saul would go up and put a newspaper underneath his arm. He was like talking about things that happened that day.
It's also very young. I think stand-up, not vaudeville, not as a part of vaudeville. Stand-up on its own is only really 100 years or so old.
Dude, there's a theater in Throckmorton, California, the Throckmorton Theater that Charlie Chaplin played when he was
Bob Hope started as a vaudeville.
Yeah, but then all those guys who pioneered basically vaudeville, then pioneered radio and pioneered television, because those mediums had not been invented yet, and so they took what they were doing in vaudeville to the radio show, like Jack Benny Radio Show, and then Milton Berle's and Jackie Gleason's show, the Show of Shows, and those things. And those guys were like, granted they had writers, but there was a guy named Ernie Kovacs who was doing 14 hours of live TV every week. It was up in Philly, New Jersey. He had a team of 20 writers, and they'd sit around, smoke cigars, and play poker and write sketches, and it's a fascinating story. But I mean, yeah, but you're right, relatively young. I mean, you like, if you think about like the late 60s or something, you were usually opening for a bigger act, like Engelbert Humperdinck or some of these people in Vegas, and you do 20, 25 minutes like Buddy Hackett. But there's some of those guys were doing the lounges and stuff. But as it got to the point where it was an 80, I mean, there's an explosion of like 450 comedy clubs, 550 comedy clubs, where now you could tour and make a living as a stand-up comedian. So that's not really that old.
But it's also not old. The 60-minute set is very so. Don Rickles was doing 10 minutes. It was 10 minutes, then there'd be a musical act. 10 minutes, then there'd be song and dance. The concept of somebody standing, and just talking for 60 minutes, it really is like 70s, and it kind of started really in the speakeasies in the city when you had what's his name getting arrested for
Lenny Bruce.
Lenny Bruce.
George Carlin got arrested as well. Well, that's because that's why they say he died for his sins, because they tortured this guy, which made him, become a heroin addict because he couldn't get and he was arguing his cases, and these are just words, and they really tortured that guy.
Talk about cancel culture, right? I mean, they're talking about people that got arrested for lewd.
Just the balls of people to go, you're canceled, you're banished from society, you are no longer worthy to participate. Like, who the are you?
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
or even when they let him back in,
you're not allowed to make a mistake. You're not allowed to make a mistake. Like, you're a human being. You're a human being. You're allowed to say the wrong thing. You're allowed to do. I mean, people getting fired for a tweet. What happened? I got fired for a tweet. Sounds like something a cartoon character would say. You got fired for a tweet, Twitty? Yeah, I got fired for a tweet. Like, what kind of clown world are we living in?
I know.
I mean, it's like, look, and it's also when you take it out of. There's no context for it when you just see written words on paper. There's no nuance, like in a conversation where you watch somebody talk and you go, "Oh, he's clearly joking." You can tell by the nuance and the inflection. It was
they
just
know that though.
Yeah,
they're not dumb. They're manipulative.
Well,
they know it.
But they just want to see. Well, there's other thing too. As I noticed, a lot of these younger comics think if they can cancel a more established comic, then they all move up one in line. I go, what is that?
Bingo.
Look, why don't you just work on before it used to be you work on your stand-up. You have to build a highly successful, repeatable act of 45 to 55 minutes that just kills 80 to 90% of the time. That was the job. Mm-hmm. And that's an endeavor in itself. That takes 4 or 5 years to build an act and then your point of view.
It's never done.
Yeah, but your point of view is going to change a little bit. Yeah. Your point of view is going to change a little bit. So that joke doesn't work for me because I don't feel that way anymore. Cultural relevancy. Also, the attention span of people. They have the attention span of a goldfish in captivity. He lives for 3 weeks and then you flush it, and you're doing references. You got to go through your act.
Hit it with a bum gun.
Rinse it out.
Go back to Kinison, though. How long did you tour with Kinison for?
5 years.
5 years on the road.
We did 70 cities.
He was doing rock and roll, dude.
Dude, he was closing with a band. He had 4 hilarious comics open for him. It's Mitch Walters, Alan Stevens, Carl LaBove. 2 years ago, we lost Carl LaBove and myself, and Mitch Walters also passed the same year. 2 of my good friends who were great, definitely comedy mentors, and 2 of the funniest guys I've ever met in my life. I mean, they were just, Mitchell was like nonstop, one of the funniest guys just hanging out with, and Carl LaBove was just one of the greatest human beings, and he was like my big brother. I mean, he taught me how to do big theaters. He said, you got to be the joke, you got to perform the joke, you can't just tell the joke, you got to act it out, you got to animate it, you got to make it bigger than life. And they would sit in the wings and watch me and give me notes, and I owe a ton to those guys. They were the best mentors and great comics, and just like taught you how to write a joke, construct a joke, and how to make it funnier, and all that.
Having a blast
and you're doing it in front of 5,000 people,
like
6,000.
Rowdy 6,000 people.
Rowdy.
Go back and look at. I
think the first time I opened for Kirson was in '88. It was in September of '88. It was in Cincinnati at a place called Bogart's, which held about 1,000 people, and there were no chairs in it. And
standing.
Yeah, people were just standing there for the con. And so I came out and I started to lose the audience a little bit, and then I just got at it, and I snapped out of it, and I wound up pulling it out and wind up closing strong. And I thought, that's it. I'm never going to work with Kinison again. And he goes, "Are you kidding me?" He goes, "Shubert." He goes, "You know how many guys would have just continued to tank and bomb?" He goes, "You had the wherewithal to pull it out and save the set," which I admired. He goes, "That tells me more about you as a performer than anything else." And so I wound up touring with him. We did 70 cities, and then it was me and a guy named Dan Barton, who is still my good friend to this day. Dan's a real writer. Most writers have like one screenplay they try to sell over 20 years. He's got 20 screenplays, but he's run into that same thing because he's an older white guy. Yeah. They won't even look at his stuff anymore, but he's a great writer. He's written novels, he's written books. He's a real writer, but I got to tour with him and do 20 cities and secondary markets and just had a blast. I mean, it was sometimes I get up in the morning and I lay in my bed for 10 minutes and just think about the crazy adventures that you've been on because you were able to work at your craft and be good at your craft. And, you look at guys like, you look at guys like Segura and Kreischer and guys flying private Learjets to gigs, doing giant arenas, all because of dick jokes, or like Seinfeld going, just because you were able to tell jokes. I mean, look at the lives you've built for yourselves. I mean, it really is outstanding. And also, you don't have to, everybody can be Seinfeld, some people, but are happy being able to do something they love to do for them. I mean, that's a win. That's every much a win as anything else. And to be able to do something you love to do and make a living at it. I mean, that's, and everybody's,
Plus you impacted culture. The Kinison thing, it's going viral again. There's one clip that he did where he called a guy on stage.
Yeah.
And
it was his big closer.
So he used to do this all the time. This wasn't a one-off.
No. It was part. It was part. That was his closer. It was his closer, and that was one of the great things about touring with a guy like Kinison. It was so revolutionary at the time. I mean, he was just like and I was friends with Dice. And I was friends with Sam, and I got to tour with Sam and watch his process and watch him create stuff. Dude, some of the funniest stuff were like just in the bus on the way to gigs. We were just dying, like on the ground laughing, craziness. I mean, he was a maniac. There's no question about it. Definitely a flawed person. He had a little bit of a drug problem, a little bit of a drinking problem, a little bit. But in all fairness, he lost his little brother Kevin, committed suicide. So I think when you numb your pain with drugs and alcohol, and then when that grief passes, you're stuck with those bad habits.
Well, that's the weird thing with comedy, or maybe that's there's so many brilliant but somewhat broken people that get into this business, and they're able to express a lot of their pain, suffering, and be very vulnerable.
Well, that's it. You take your pain and suffering and you turn it into art, and you bring it to people to be able to laugh at it. I mean, there's a lot of like, what was that kid's name? He had a crazy voice. He was from down here. He passed away recently. I think he got hit by a car, but he had Eric Myers. Was a great stand-up like that, but like Kinison, but a lot of people are that it's the kind of flaw. Like I think what happens is I think you struggle so hard at this, and I think when you become successful, you're not prepared for success, and so I think there's no book you can read. This is how you become a success. These are the things you can expect. This is what happens. I mean, there's not a book on how to become a famous person. You know what I mean? So when you look at somebody who handles it so well, like Russell Peters is just like the way he handles his fans. He signs every autograph. He takes every picture. He talks to everybody. Like he's built it brick by brick by brick all over the world. And it's like you go, yeah, that's what I would tear a page out of that playbook in a second, like as opposed to, other comics who hide in the back room. Is everybody gone yet? I don't want to meet anybody. Or, I mean, you build it. These people will go out and they'll bring 10 people to come see your show next time. I mean, look at Sebastian Maniscalco. He does that family entertainment. They go home, they get their 10 family members, they bring them out to his next show. He sells out 6 shows at Madison Square Garden. And, and another guy who's like just built it. He's amazing. Look at his stand-up. All that's great for stand-up. Anything can happen. As long as you're in it to win it and you keep working on it and you keep doing it. Because sometimes you can get caught up in the fact that it's not important, but it is important. But you
got to stay away from the bitter people, man.
Yeah, well,
they'll sap your energy down to nothing. There's when those people,
energy vampires. As I've gotten older, I just want to be around good people that make my soul feel good, people that make you feel wanted and around. You hang out with those people, and it's a give and take thing. But you're right. There's a lot of people out there like there's a lot of people they act like they're happy for you, but they're not happy for you. No. It's like my buddy calls it comedians. Congratulations. Hey man, congratulations. How come I didn't get that? But it's like you can't do anything anyway. I mean, you can't do everything anyway. Some people like this. Some people like that. It's art form. It's subjective. Some people like this guy better. They like this style of comedy better. Some people like Carrot Top. Some people like this. I mean, the thing of it is, it's all great for stand-up comedy. And, Russell Peters has been doing those markets for 10, 15. Now you see a lot of guys doing those markets. I mean, Russell was a trendsetter in that area, but now guys like Fluffy, Gabriel Iglesias is out there doing it. He's doing these. So everybody's, I mean, he's really kind of paved the way in a way to do these markets. Like there's 2 6,000-seat arenas in Hong Kong, 2 shows, 6,000 seats. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, and so
nice little payday.
And also you're doing around the world. You're a citizen of the world.
Yeah, it's cool.
It really is cool. But you go. My uncle used to tell me this thing when I was growing up. He goes, you could put me in an airplane with a parachute and I'd jump out anywhere in America. He goes, I'd float to the ground safely. I guarantee you by 8 o'clock that night, I'd have $20 in my pocket. I'd have a bed to sleep in. It's just one of those things. But as you do stand-up, you have friends everywhere. You have friends. You got friends in Austin. You got friends here. You've been doing those markets. You make friends. And you go around the world. You go, what a great thing. Yeah. I mean, it's just I mean, it really is a blessing to be able to do that, and that doesn't exist in other places. It just doesn't exist in other places. You think that it does, but I mean, you don't. Not in a, like, that doesn't happen in the Philippines. You become a huge, although Joe Coy was an American, but Joe Coy now is doing theaters. But I mean, that doesn't happen if you're not born in America.
Yeah. You've been around comedy, like you said, 37 years, and you've seen it at so many different levels. I mean, you've seen it in a room where there's 8 people in there, and you've done a room where there's 6,000, right? So when you're looking at younger comics and when you're looking at new comics, and I mean, when you were at the store and Tony Hinchcliffe is working the phones, are you like, that guy's going to be the biggest podcaster in the world?
Yeah, I don't know that, but I knew Sebastian was going to be famous.
You knew
because everybody used to imitate him.
Really?
All the comedians used to write and do him. Like Which
is interesting because there's a famous story, I believe, at Levity Live in New York, where the owner comes up to him and goes, you're just not a headliner. You're a funny act. You're a good gimmick I'll feature you, but you're just not a headliner. And then I think Sebastian. I'm not calling anybody out here because I think Sebastian said it once on a show after he got the guy front row tickets to him at the Garden.
Yeah. But I've had guys say that to me. You're a feature act at best. Okay. I mean, but you use all that stuff to fuel you.
Sure.
You use it all to fuel you. I mean, I'm sure
that person to even say that.
Well, exactly. So, I mean, it's not like this business isn't tough enough as it is.
No, it's tough.
I mean, it's tough. And so you don't got to go out of your way to make it harder on people. Yeah. If you find somebody, you go, hey, I always give advice or little pointers or something.
Leno had a great line. You actually said it before about cutting somebody down to get ahead. They asked what's your advice in comedy? What's your advice to make it? He goes, just stay in line.
Stay in line. Keep your focused on what you're doing. Keep writing your act. Keep writing your stuff. Keep working on your stuff. I always find when I'm reading a lot, I'm writing a lot, and they just go hand in hand. So I'm a voracious reader, whether it's magazine articles or periodicals or books or novels or different things. It just fills your head. Yeah. It fills your head with and I'm a phraseologist. I love a good phraseology. I love a good putting together a whole paragraph into one sentence.
Very good with word economy.
The word efficiency and stuff like that. And so it's I'm just I work hard, so the harder you work, the luckier you get. And it's like you got to do social media, but you also got to post with intent. You got to figure out what you want to be. You got to figure out, see yourself, and kind of create this thing, and then step into it. And if there's an audience for it, even more power to you. But I mean, it's a tremendously difficult, because you can toil away, and a lot of people do different things. There's a lot of ways to make a living. If you're making a living doing something you love to do, I got news for you. You're fucking winning.
Sure.
You're winning. Some guys do it on the ships. Some guys are lucky enough to get to do theaters. Some guys have international audiences. Some guys do comedy clubs.
Some guys work in marketing.
What's that?
And some guys work in marketing. Whatever works, man.
You know, all you need are 26 markets that'll bring you back every 8 months. 22 markets, 22 cities. And you keep working on that, and you keep cultivating those audiences. And if you focus on that, the next thing you know, there'll be 36 and 46 and 56. And you start small. You start one day, ridiculously small. I'm going to write one new joke. Today, I'm going to write one new joke. I'm going to read one paragraph today. I'm going to do 5 push-ups today. You start ridiculously small. And those are the habits that you build up.
Japanese Kaizen.
Hey, what's that?
Kaizen.
Yeah. It's and you get these things like it hits me in waves. Like there's sometimes sometimes you have to check out, and you also have to live a life so you have something to talk about. So it can't be like every day about.
You could definitely burn out, man.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So you got to work hard and then work smart too, and you got to take some time off and go get lost in the world and go live a life and go find out how you feel about this and go in other cultures and go do different stuff and because I tell you. Everything you think you know to be true is a lie. When you wake up one day and go, I thought I knew shit. I don't know fucking anything. And then you start there, and you go, okay, let me re-educate myself. Let me re-educate, but everything. I mean, I don't want to go down rabbit holes, but, the food pyramid, the flipping of the food pyramid, the fluoride and the toothpaste, and all the way down the line. And so...
But that's the honor that I take the silence very seriously.
Yeah,
the audience is giving me their time, and I want to present my worldview and my perspective in a comedic fashion.
Yeah.
But I want to honor the fact that I'm not going to go the easy route. You know my comedy pretty well.
Yeah.
I want to have the difficult conversations.
Here's the thing.
In a fun way.
Yeah, it's a privilege to be able to do this.
Yeah.
It's not you don't get you don't get to reinvent the wheel. It is what it is. It is. There's only 8 joke comedy formulas. There's also techniques when you're dealing with audiences. There's also things you could do, but to establish a rapport and to make it count and to make a connection with your audience, and then take them on your little magic carpet ride. And now you get them laughing so hard when you're 20 minutes in that they've forgotten about all their little problems, all the things that upset them. And to me, I think that's the power of the gift, and it is a gift. Because you can make them forget. It's like going and escaping into a movie for that 2 hours. You're just not even thinking about your own problems. And it's like I remember I was doing a show in Minneapolis. I was at Rick Bronson's House of Comedy, and I saw this kid sitting by himself because I'm always people watching. I'm always looking, observing, and he was just sitting by himself and he was just eating. And he started letting everybody in. He was just sitting there by himself, and I walked over. I said, "Are you going to go inside?" He goes, I don't know. I go, well, if you need to, I'll put him. I go, if he needs a ticket, let him go inside. And sure enough, he wound up going inside. I didn't realize, but that day he had buried his aunt who passed away, who was like a mother to him. And so he was tremendously sad. And he wasn't thinking about even going to a comedy show. He goes, and then you said that to me. And he goes, I went in there. And he goes, I have to thank you because I was having a really bad day. And you made me laugh so hard, and you made me laugh so hard and forget about, not to forget, but it would just, you were making me laugh so hard that I wasn't able to be sad anymore. And so it was interesting. It's like, that's the gift. It's like when you can do that for people. So it's like, also, the devil hates the sound of laughter. And so if you get people in that joyous state, if you're able to create the joyous state, then you're really doing something, man. I think that's the power of the gift. I mean, who doesn't like to laugh? Everybody loves people that make them laugh. I love sitting there with people, you just laugh at their inside jokes. You just laugh at them. I mean, there's nothing more cathartic or healing than that. And so I take that very seriously. And I do it when I work on my act, when I'm crafting these bits, these rants, and these things to get the maximum response from an audience. Because it is. It's like rhythm. It's like jazz music. It's rhythm. And then you get them going, and you can see the backs of the audiences and their heads going forward. You just watch a guy named Harry Basil at the Comedy Store. You watch Dice Clay even from the back of the Comedy Store in the main room at the Comedy Store, and see the audience's heads just doing this from the back of the room, just
slapping
they're laughing
other.
So hard, and they're slapping each other. I mean, dude, what's better than that?
Nothing.
And
it's you can't. That is totally involuntary. You can't fake that.
No, you know what? You can't. It's a completely involuntary reaction. You go, if you do all this, people are going to laugh. It's a trial on everything.
When somebody smiles, like I shouldn't laugh at that. It's
yeah,
like,
you
that's
got,
the best.
and the thing of the process, it's like baseball. It's a game of failure. Yeah. You fall on your face, you get back up. You fall on your face, you get back up. You fall on your face, you get back up.
So you see a guy like Sebastian going back. What made you think? You said people were imitating him, but you were like, because you see these guys when they're on the ascension. It's easy when you're watching guys at the end and they've got so much production and you see you're like, oh, okay. But, I mean, even the guy like Bernie Mac, you watch him, he's doing the same joke for 11 years that he ended Kings of Comedy with.
Yeah, but sometimes it takes that evolution. Yeah, but people don't realize it takes that long.
Yeah, watch the evolution.
It takes you 20 years, man.
Yeah.
It takes you 20 years. A lot of people, that they see guys do it, they go, oh, that looks easy enough. I go, it takes 20 years, bro. 20 years, I didn't put my first album out till I was 17 years in. Wow. Now I got 7 of them. I just finished my last album, but I mean, it's like, it's.
Is there a guy that shocked you coming up through? Like when Tony, like the joke is Tony was working the phones at.
I got news for you. That's not a joke. Tony Hinchcliffe built that thing brick by brick by brick by brick. He was doing that show in the belly room with sat 99 people. The room was half full. Wow. I mean, I'm telling you something. You got Tony Hinchcliffe is amazing. He built that up himself, and then of course, being friends with Joe didn't hurt him because, when the show was ready and they had that audience.
But he earned the respect because he
earned the respect. Yeah. And, dude, that guy's hilarious. Mm-hmm. Tony Hinchcliffe is really, really funny, bro. Just hanging out and talking to him, he's great. I played golf with Tony many times. He's one of my favorite people. And I used to tease him. I used to torture him about his giant head. He had this giant head on his skinny body. But, I mean, you bust balls. But, but all those guys, growing up at the Comedy Store, and it's like sharing a foxhole, is everybody's got their dream. Everybody's got their own little dream. And you see guys come in, Joe Rogan was so, Joe never took a paycheck from the Comedy Store for many years. He said, keep the money and fix the place up. I mean, Joe has a Mitzi bar. Joe loves stand-up comedy, man. He's a historian and loves talking about it. And it is. I mean, you come up at the Comedy Store, you're following guys like Arsenio Hall. I mean, I had to follow Joe and Dice and, these comics. And you got to watch Robin Williams and Richard Pryor. It's like you're like a trained assassin. There's nothing anyone's going to throw. And that's guys like Bobby Lee and Santino and people that start at the Comedy Store. There were 3 rooms there. You can go room to room to room, 3 sets a night, and you had to come up through Mitzi's system. I started out as a doorman. I was a doorman there. I got to watch everybody. I had to watch Gary Shandling, Jeff Cesario, Louis Anderson. You get to watch all the pros, Ronnie Kinney, all these guys. You can learn as much watching a bad comedian as you could watch a good comedian.
There's something to that though, man, because it matters to you. It matters to you. You're putting in your time. You're going to get better. My biggest beef I have with people now, and look, I'm a social media guy. I love social media, but they want to be famous. That's it. And they're using comedy as a way to get famous.
I got news for you. Most famous people I know, the one thing they hate about being famous is the being famous part. They love getting good tables at restaurants. They love that. But being famous, I got to put on a mustache. I got to get my eyebrows sticking up and wear a baseball hat and glasses. I mean, I see people like just the lengths they go to not be noticed and to be like, and the other thing is, like I said, there's no manual for it. How do you handle it? How do you even, you got to be gracious, and you got to go. This is part of the job. It's every bit a part of the job, and you're lucky enough to get there. You're lucky enough to. Believe me, there's a million people out there that would trade places with you. And even as my career, which is not even on, I've done enough stuff and enough things, but it's like I don't have that that fame where you sell out arenas. Sure. But at the same time, could I be able to enjoy a dinner by myself without every time? So
you do wish for it, but then you are a target, and I don't think people, like you said, they're not prepared for that. One of the most famous people I know told me a story. Him and his wife were having some problems or whatever, and he goes out to the bar, and this girl comes up to him and is flirting with him, and he's kind of famous at this time, so of course, why not? Takes her back to the hotel room. She closes the door, turns around, and goes, "Give me $50,000, or I'm going to tell everybody that you raped me." And he goes, get that. And she's like, starts hitting herself and all this crazy shit. Calls up his lawyer, and he's like, what am I doing right here? He goes, give it $50,000. Just give her the $50,000. It's better than any other thing that happens. Well, that was what the lawyer told him.
Yeah, well, that's why you can never ever put yourself in bad situations, and lots of time you're not even thinking that way. But you think everybody operates the way you do. Love, peace, happiness. Hey, can't we all get along? And other people going, how do I take this motherfucker down? And you think, and you never know. You get the target on your back, and the minute you step out of line,
you're a mark.
And you're a mark. And like you said, it's easier to pay the $50,000 than have the story bust out and go yada 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 yada, whatever. But you know what? That's the other thing that comes with it too. You got to be like, people protect themselves. Like you're very protective about who they let in, and I understand that. I understand that because you think everybody operates at the level you do. Mm-hmm. Where I don't have any bitterness, I don't have any envy, I don't have any jealousy. I root for everybody to win because everybody can win. It's not this guy has this and you can't have that. It's not even like that. Mm-hmm. I've never operated like that. I never have. I'm a happy guy.
Especially when it's like somebody's audience, when they're like, these are my fans. It's like you think you're the only person. These
Dude,
people
that's the most gracious thing about touring with Russell. Russell lends you his fan base. He goes, here, come out there and puts your name up there, and so everybody can follow you on social media. I mean, you guys look at guys like Rogan and Russell that do that for people. The amount of great karma they have. They're throwing ladders down because they're not insecure people. They're so secure with who they are that the thing is that they bless people and the universe blesses them more. And so but I've never been that guy anyway. I root for everybody, man. I root for all my friends.
Ever since I've known you, you've been hyper gracious. You've put in phone calls for me. You've introduced me to people. I can't thank you enough. I don't say enough good things.
but that's the only way the art form lives on. But you also, Gerard, you hustle. You're working. You're writing. You're not doing sets. You're doing it. You're hustling. You're going after it. And you can't get mad at a guy like that. You got to help a guy like that. You got to go whatever. Like people help me. I've had mentors my whole life that people have gone out of the way. Yeah. They go, hey,
nobody gets anywhere alone. That's a big mistake I think people make. Like
no man is an island, bro. And everybody is. You think? I mean, I go all the way back to my brothers that supported me and helped me and through the lean times and the struggles and summers where I just ate eggs because I didn't have money for groceries. You just eating eggs. You want to borrow a couple bucks from your neighbor.
Turns out it was probably the healthiest thing you could have possibly done.
Turns out, how's the thing? That's why I developed my love.
You were ahead of the carnivore diet.
I was ahead of the carnivore diet. But I mean, there's ups and downs and ups and downs. It's a lot like surfing. I mean, Marc Maron does that joke. Speaking of Marc, does that joke about it takes 10 years to build an overnight success. Unfortunately, it's the same exact amount of time it takes to be a complete another failure. So you don't know till the night of. But it's funny. But everybody's entitled to their opinion. I just live and let live. I want to do my thing. I want to make people happy. So
I want to talk about the good things, but in 37 years, if there is any comic listening to this or human doing anything, if you could have done anything differently, what would you have done differently? Does anything stick out to you?
Yeah, I would have. I probably wouldn't have. There was a period where you were touring with Kinison and the availability of drugs was there, but I probably wouldn't have done that. I probably would have, and I was very workout conscious and healthy, and I had this 7-year period where I got a little lost along the way, but the good news is we're way ahead of schedule, came out on top, but I probably would have, I think about it now.
That turtle's got to hit rock bottom and seek some help.
That's right. It turns out that it kind of skeeves me out when I think about it.
Is that right?
Well, I just like it's just the where you would have been if you didn't do that. And you put yourself if you would have but then you go through that your whole life. If I knew now what I knew then, but also
I went through a similar period.
But it's also
it steals from tomorrow. That's the problem. The night steals from tomorrow.
But also the other thing is that you realize that if you didn't do that, you wouldn't be as wise as you are now.
Yeah.
And if you didn't do that, you wouldn't be the person you are now. So if you change any of those things that you you regret about the past, you wouldn't be the smarter version of yourself now. Sure. And so I look back at that and say, yeah, that's one thing. Did I have a good time? Yes, I had a great time.
But it's a shame that lessons not learned in blood
do I regret it? And I believe my guardian angel's got 3 sets of wings. And, and while I appreciate the grace and the mercy from the Lord above that I didn't OD or get in any of those situations or wind up in jail or dead, I'm very gracious for that. But also that was, but I really worked hard. I really, my work ethic, I do a show. I would do so many shows and so many stand-ups. Like there was probably like a 6-year period. All I cared about was stand-up. Morning, noon, night writing. I wrote jokes for Jimmy Walker. I wrote guys' jokes for like Yakov Smirnoff. I think I sold a couple to Louis Anderson or whatever the deal is, and like some other guys. And so there was that. There was just working the door. You were also participating in Mitzi's, like, the belly room and getting sets. Yeah. And you get to watch the best stand-ups in the country at the time. And so, and form great relationships with people over the years. It's like sharing a foxhole, man. And so I had some great times in my life. I really do. I've lived I say this, and I hope I'll have many more years. But if it ended tomorrow, I've lived a blessed life.
Yeah, but I don't think it will. I actually think, and I don't mean, I mean this as an ultimate compliment. Take it that way, please. I don't think the best has happened yet. I can see you having a Dangerfield-esque third act. Oh. I can see you. The culture's coming back around to you. Yeah. You're a monster, and now I think you could kind of have that.
A Dangerfield-esque third.
I think the third act.
Third act.
I think so.
Hey, from your lips to God's ears, that would be great.
You're not an emulatable comic. You can't be Jimmy Shubert. There's Jimmy Shubert. Like you said, you can see a joke and be like, okay, that's got Sebastian Maniscalco influence in it, or you see a joke and you're like, all right, well, that's a little Chappelle, that's a little Burr, right? And they have that, but Jimmy Shubert's Jimmy Shubert. Oh. You know what I'm saying? There's anybody else who tried to do your material would not be. They would fall flat.
Oh, you think so?
I do.
Well, that's good to know. Not that people haven't tried. Okay, no, it's fine. Hey, it's just what's that line? Who was it? Imitation is the sincerest
form of flattery.
Which the rest of the sentence was what counts. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery that mediocrity can play to greatness.
Is that right?
Is the full quote.
That's the full quote.
That's the full quote.
Ah.
You know who said it?
Carlos Mencia.
God! And where did he get it? Carlos Mencia. No, that's funny. But, yeah, so... yeah, it's good. It's good to be back. It's just I'm just kind of getting my chops back now. Just because when you tour like that, it's like a magical trip to go through and to do all that, and you realize while you're in it, you're going, it's like a movie, man. It's like dreamlike. It's like cool. It's I can't thank Russell Peters enough for taking me and letting me experience that. And, he was busting my balls. He goes, sorry, you're not having such a good time, Jimbo. I was having the best time. Russell's freaking hilarious. Just hanging out with him. His zingers. Oh, he's got the zingers, and all the guys that tour with him are funny. Like, his DJ's funny. Everybody's got a sense of humor. They're all really good people. So
that's awesome.
And everybody looks out for everybody. It was like, it's one of those things where you go, yeah, that's the right way you're doing it.
Is there anything you haven't done in comedy or entertainment that you'd like to do? Is there anything? Is there anything on the checklist that hasn't been checked off that you'd like to get done?
I would like to keep getting opportunities to do movies. I'd like to kind of let parts I got and go, and I've been very lucky to do that. I did 15 episodes of The King of Queens. I did 4 episodes of Entourage. I've done TV shows. I've done my own specials. I
heard Kevin James is a cool dude.
Kevin's great. Really cool. Great. And his brother Gary, who played cousin Danny on the show, is great also. Friends for many years. I would, like you said, man. I couldn't be thank those guys enough for having the opportunities and trusting you to be on their show and let you do 15 episodes. It's just I'm very grateful, and of course I always feel obligated to pay it forward. If you can help somebody out, if you can help somebody have a little less lending money to comics that were struggling. I've helped people without any expectation of getting it paid back. It's just you do what you can do when you can do it because you
don't lend money to comics. You give money to comics.
No, but that's true. But I've been that guy where you know I've paid my debts back. But you also been that guy. I understand it. I mean, but there's a difference. If I know a guy's gonna, if you give a guy money, you know he's gonna take it and go do good. Because he needs help out of a situation, rather than the guy who's going to come back every 2 months and keep asking. That's the guy you're on your own. But for the most part, like you, I've done that for a lot of people. You send emails and say, hey, this guy, I just saw this guy, he's great. Just work with this guy, terrific. If you can fit him in, I do it with I've had relationships with some club owners that I've had for many years that I just don't recommend ham and eggers. I recommend good acts, and they go, he was great. We loved him. He was great, and so that way I continue to send good people. If I go, you can come down here and do this, and it's just the way it is. It's like and you
lived with Holtzman in L.A.
Holtzman was my roommate.
Talking about a guy who's having a third act. He's crushing down in Austin.
Yeah, well, he's he called me a couple weeks ago. Maybe a couple months ago. He was having a tough time in Chicago because Chicago is a very blue city, and he was having a rough weekend. I go, well, dude, I said, you live in that bubble, which is Austin, and they love you down there, they expect you down there, and then you leave that bubble, and you think it's going to be like that everywhere you go, and you got to really have them sell you the right way. Listen, whatever you do, don't come to the show. Whatever. And the second sign, we've warned you twice now. Don't come to the show.
I swear to God.
Last time we're warning you. People go, why can't we come to the show?
Yeah.
What's the show about? How come you can't come?
Yeah.
Why they keep warning you?
It's brilliant.
I go, why they keep coming to the show? I want to come see this guy. Yeah. How come I can't see this guy?
You're not telling me I can't see that guy.
You're not telling me I can't come. I want 6 extra tickets if I can't come. Next thing you know, he's sold out and he's crushing because you promoted him the right way because he's just that kind of act.
Smart, yeah.
And I love Brian, man. I'm dude. It warms my heart that he's having a third act.
Yeah.
That he's crushing it because he's worked so hard at it. He's put his time in, and he even tells you, how tough this is, people. It's like
which people that don't know him, people that are only familiar with his clips online, he is like the calmest, sweetest, nicest dude.
Human being.
It's off.
He's like Don Rickles, Mr. Warmth.
Yeah.
Like the guy's he gets away with it because he's such a nice human being off stage. My friends were down there, like Lenny Clark from Boston was there, was my buddy Johnny Peasy. Ryan runs out and gets some slices of pizza and cheesesteaks. Hey, he get him some sandwiches. They brought it back for him. He goes, this Brian Holtzman's the nicest
guy.
He's the sweet. Like, I love hanging out with Brian.
Yeah. He's reserved,
and Tony's the same.
soft-spoken.
And Tony Hinchcliffe is the same way. I mean, me and Tony have some laughs. Dude, I remember last time I was in Austin, we had these little hands these little hands that go on your fingers. And we're like, I do magic, so that he loves it, but dude, I just laughed all night long. So much fun, dude. Those are my friends from comedy. The guys that make me laugh. Jason Rouse is another guy who just makes me laugh.
And they're crushing it.
Complete lunatic, but I mean, I love those. I love comedians, man. Yeah. I love because, like, Seinfeld said, you have more in common with one of those people than you do,
But the same people that are hating on the Riyadh Comedy Festival, they hate on Kill Tony. All he does is make fun of open micers, blah, blah, blah. Kill Tony, say what you want about it. Fiona Cawley, who I love Fiona Cawley. She goes on Kill Tony, okay? She's in a wheelchair. Yeah. She crushes. She's an incredible comic. She has a very rare disease. Because of how popular she's gotten off of Kill Tony, because of how popular she's become online, doctors from the University of Massachusetts have reached out to her and say that we think that we have some revolutionary treatments for you.
And also, she's probably making a career now.
Yes, absolutely.
She probably has a career where she can make a living doing so. So look at the power of Kill Tony.
Look at the cultural importance.
Look at the power of Kill Tony. That here's this guy taking all these comedians who would take them 10 or 15 years otherwise.
Yes.
Get this opportunity.
At least.
Get this opportunity on Kill Tony. Look at Cam.
Look at Cam.
Cam, who's on that on SNL, Saturday Night Live.
And you can only understand every other word he says.
Yeah, fine. Agreed. But also, look at all those people who now have lives and careers. Yeah. And because...
Hans Kim, Timmy No Briggs. Yeah.
Also, and Rogan the same way. The people that come on his podcast, the careers that people have otherwise. So it's like, look at all the good that's been done.
But they never talk about that.
I mean, there's a person who is in a wheelchair who did a couple minutes on Kill Tony, who now has a career and possibly may not have to stay in the wheelchair. Like, look at that for a minute. How significant. And all those other comics that who knows where they would have been or what they would have done, who now have careers because of Kill Tony. Yeah. And people have opportunities to make themselves into bigger careers. Like, I got news for you, bro. Make all the fun. You don't understand it. And you don't also, the people that are just jumping on the bandwagon about the Riyadh Comedy Festival, you don't understand it. You don't understand. You're basing it off a 30-year-old model or a 20-year-old model of Saudi Arabia, or what you thought it was. Yeah. And you're following the propaganda machine. Because it wasn't that. And that certainly wasn't my experience. And you're just, you can go anywhere and do stuff. Like, you know, the balls it took to go over and do that and to put yourself on the line, because you're setting yourself up to bomb. You're going to go over there and bomb everyone, which you don't want to do that. But
they probably come here to do that.
Yeah, you know. But and the comedy club has a 2 ostrich minimum. Listen,
first comedy club, you got to take your shoes off to get in.
But now they do have a comedy club in Saudi Arabia. But it's an Arabic-speaking comedy club. But they do have one. And I talked to one of the local comedians who was helping me cross over. So I mean, it's like, you know, I took pictures with these guys, and so it's like, man, it's all good, man. Yeah. Just love. Like I think like one of the things I learned out of life is whatever you put into the world, come back to you tenfold. You put hate out in the world, you put evilness out in the world, that's what comes back. You put love, you put kindness out, that's what comes back to you. Yeah. And that's really the only thing that I know to be true, and you can call it what you want. I think whatever you put into the world comes back to you. And at the end of the day, look, you want great friends, be a great friend. You want to be loved, love people, and unconditionally love people.
And we're winning the culture war with comedy. Well, they're trying to cancel people. They want to riot. They want to. Well, we just tell jokes. We make fun of people.
Here's the thing they don't get. Here's the thing. Trump could be the funniest presidential candidate and president we've ever had.
Dude's funny.
Dude, hilariously. Like he talked about on Rogan. He's got like stand-up comic timing.
Dude, he's funny.
He's hilarious, bro. Hilarious. Like, you know what I'm saying? Nobody else is funny. Yeah. Like the politicians.
Did you see he made a trans joke to Marc Maron, the Prime Minister of Canada, who has a trans kid? He goes, careful, they're going to think he's a girl. And it's like, the guy's and he laughed. And you're sitting there going like, this fucking guy, he's a roast master.
Let me tell you something, bro. That's why people like him, because he's so funny. If some of these other politicians would just, instead of just, you know, just be authentically who you are. It's okay, but I got to tell you.
To be funny, you have to have a sense of humor. These people take themselves so effing seriously.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And they take their advocacy so effing serious.
Like all these people, like you see these people online, and I go, like I was just in the Philippines for 2.5 weeks. Like that, I love the Filipino people. They're the nicest. They got the most beautiful smiles. Hello, sir. You know, and they're it's not a. They make $6 to $8 a day. You know, they eat rice. They take care of. They got 14 people living with them. They take care of them. They're in these like square cinder block huts with like the windows cut out. I mean, they're the nicest people and the happiest people with the greatest senses of humor and sense of humor. And you would think, how are they so happy? And it's because it's a choice they make. Now here you are, you got all these other people that live in America that walk around. You got $300 sneakers on. You got $1,000 computer in your pocket. You're oppressed. I'm not. What are you not happy about? You have everything in the world to be happy about, and you're not. And you're mean, and you go out of your way to act like a Karen at the littlest thing because you don't agree with it. Yeah. Just let it go. Yeah. You'll be happier. Everybody around you be happy. But these people, I go, man, this all comes with an expiration date. You should just try to just enjoy what time you got left on this planet and love people, man. It's a better way to go. It's a better game plan.
We're in the same place. We're going to the same destination. Might as well have a good time.
Nobody gets out alive, man.
Brother.
You know what I mean? And you gotta. I really feel that way. I feel that if the what you put out comes back, and so put whatever you want in your life, whatever business in your life, then put that out into the world.
The legend Jimmy Shubert. Thank you for coming again today,
thanks for having me, man.
Oh, dude, love you to death.
People go to my website when my new album drops. I just listened to them. I just got it from my distributor.
Yep.
It's called Clown Shoes. It'll be out. We're also going to dump a special out on YouTube. So follow me on Instagram at Jimmy Shubert, and that's no C in Shubert. It's Shubert. Or go to my website. I got a bunch of tour dates coming up. Thanks for listening. Thanks for having me, brother.
All those links will be down in the description below. If you made it this far, please give us a subscription, subscribe, follow, share. Commenting goes such a long way, guys. Leave a comment down below. Let us know who you'd like to see on next. And check out telyrx.com. That's TELYRX.com. Use code SNT for 20% off your first delivery. TelyRx.com. That's telehealth, Jimmy. So now you don't have to go to the doctor anymore. Show them the bump uglies that you got on your trip to Saudi Arabia, and then have to look at that condescending look at the pharmacy as the beautiful girl behind the counter looks at the prescription she's got to give you. Who wants to deal with any of this? You go to TelyRx.com, you put in your symptoms, and they mail you your prescription straight to your door.
Nice. I didn't do anything in Saudi Arabia. I was over there beating off like a death row inlay. I was over there beating off like Miggs from Silence of the Lambs. I wasn't even playing any games over there. You never know what you're going to run into.
Came back calloused from all the sand.
That's right, bro.
Friction.
Last time I squirted before I left, knee cartilage came out. That can't be good. Anyway, thanks for having me, Gerard. We got a costume party to go to.
Later, guys.
Peace out.
Peace.
Peace.